There's a lot of pieces to this issue. What we need to remember are two things. One, our taxi cab drivers are small business owners, a lot of them, mom and pop owners, and so we have to make sure that we're protecting them. And also with Uber, I think it's a great idea and it's a great program. There are technologies coming out that will give cab drivers parity with Uber, because after all, it's just an app. And so there are apps coming out that cab drivers will be able to use too, that you'll be able to go to, Yellow Cab or whatever, and do the same thing that Uber does. I think that we just have to make sure that there's a level playing field and everybody's getting a fair shot. We can't, regulate cabs out the wazoo and then let Uber have free reign. It's got to be some parity.
Ann Wilcox, how do you feel about this?
Well, I think there should be a fair system for cab drivers, but you also need alternatives. The bike lanes are another option, the city bikes, the dog parks, all those things are innovations that we need to sort of work into our city system. And the new residents, 1,100 new residents every month that are moving into D.C.
What do dog parks have to do with transportation?
Well, it's adjustments that have to be made because they have to share public space.
How do you feel about dog parks, A.J. Cooper?
Well, I think that in this city, there are people that would have rather had a working public school in their neighborhood than have a dog park.
Is that a realistic comparison, though? I mean, why can't you have both?
Well, I agree that it shouldn't be an either-or proposition.
Some people allege that you say dog parks and bike trails
it's coded language.
That it's coded language for racial politics. Mm-hmm. Is that a factor in this campaign?
That is what I've been hearing from residents. I mean, let's be real.
Do you think it is?
No.
I don't care what the residents say. I mean, what do you, in this, I'm asking.
You don't care what the residents say?
No, because every time I ask
Tom Sherwood doesn't care about residents.
No, yeah, I'm sure that. Here's the problem. Every time I ask that question, someone always says, well, that's what I'm hearing.
Right.
And they never answer. I mean, if you ask me, yes, there is a racial issue in virtually every election.
Yes.
And every politician who's ever been on this show and I've interviewed always says, well, that's what people are telling me.
Yes, I think there's a racial issue.
And I just think that's dodging the answer.
Well, yes, I do think there's a racial issue, but not one that we can't overcome.
How would you, as a member of the D.C. Council, resolve that racial issue?
Why are dog parks racial?
Well, it's kind of coding. Like they say, there's those dog whistles. It's coding. But the way that I would resolve it is this: folks from my generation, we grew up with white folks. We grew up with Latinos. We grew up with the immigrant population. We grew up with gay folks. We don't have those same kind of walls and barriers that the older generations have. We party at the same places. We listen to the same music. We date each other's sisters. So bringing a young mind to the city council will alleviate a lot of these issues, because at the end of the day, all we want to do is have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and be able to pay our student loans off.
On to
you can have all of those with the last one.
on to Thomas in Washington, D.C. Thomas, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kojo. Look, I found it rather odd when Councilmember Orange talked about his deep interest in investing heavily into the academic excellence of our public schools. The reason why I say that is because, as one of the candidates mentioned, the schools in the District of Columbia, since segregation and before, at least for black students, and for poor white students too, I'm sure, have been a dismal failure. They continue to be so, and many of the charter schools suffer from that same condition. In the meantime, Councilmember Orange and his long-standing colleagues have supported the construction of the baseball stadium to the tune of practically $1 billion, the Target Mall to the tune of about $42 million, the hotel, the Marriott Hotel that's being subsidized by the District of Columbia government on 9th Street.
And your question is?
And my point, and also 10-year lower tax base for new construction of townhouses and condominiums. So my question or comment that I would like the candidates to talk about is, how do we get away from the talk, the superficial talk about wanting to make the academic programs of the schools better, and also to fully fund the libraries so that they're not underfunded.
That's a lot of questions in one, Thomas. Are you aware that, according to recent reports, there has been a significant increase in enrollment in D.C. public and charter schools?
I'm all with enrollment, and I'm all with new buildings for libraries, but the libraries in 3 years have, for the inventory, the book inventory, the budget has been cut from $6 million to $1 million.
Thomas doesn't think either the libraries or the schools are up to par, and would like to know, Vincent Orange, why you have been supporting money to build stadiums and other things and not focusing on the schools and the libraries.
Well, first of all, I think we should be clear. and along with my community, we were the impetus for the school modernization program, starting off with McKinley Technology High School and Noyes Elementary School, and then the city followed. In terms of economic development, I had the first major economic development project in 20 years. Home Depot, Giant, 9 other retail outlets, and Costco will be opening this November, and the city followed. And then in terms of employment, I've always said we need to connect jobs that are being created with D.C. residents. Now, in terms of what's going on in the city, the plan is the economic resurgence of Washington, D.C., Citizens Plan for Prosperity.
You see National Stadium as a part of that?
And it was a part of generating revenue. The $450 million community benefit fund was realized, but Mayor Fenty took the $450 million that was supposed to go back into the community. And part of that $450 million, it was supposed to have been laptops on every desk for children, starting with McKinley and Ballou high schools. So there was a plan. The stadium pays for itself. It generates revenue, and it's up to us to make sure that revenue gets to where it's supposed to be in the classroom and in other places.
Speaking of city finances, Tom, you have any questions about Chief Financial Officer Natwar Gandhi? I have one.
Well, you go ahead, and I'll see if it's good enough. If not, I'll bolster it with my own.
Leon Swain, would you have voted to approve the nomination of Natwar Gandhi to remain the district's Chief Financial Officer? Mayor Gray says he has no regrets about reappointing the city's longtime Chief Financial Officer.
Let's see, we lost.
Given the cloud that has been hanging over the office of the Chief Financial Officer in general and the Office of Taxes and Revenue in particular.
We lost $50 million the first time. Now we've lost another couple of $1 million. Natwar Gandhi, it seems, runs a very, very good shop. And when you get down into the internal running of the shop, I think he's lacking. I think that, first of all, the city council should never have approved Mr. Gandhi for a second term or for a third term. I'm sorry.
How about you, A.J. Cooper?
You know, here's the thing. If Natwar Gandhi worked at Starbucks and the cash register came up short, he would get fired. We need to start holding our public officials to the same standards that we're held to. So you wouldn't have voted to approve his nomination? No, I would not. And I think there are plenty of talented people that could do a better job.
Before the other two answer, I've looked into this. Ever since Harriet Walters, who stole the $48 million, about $48 million, there have been 4 or 5 other people in the CFO's office. The CFO's office told me, and they sent me the information, all of them were caught by internal checkpoints within the CFO's office. Now, Councilmember Jack Evans has said, well, you caught them after they stole too much money. They stole, but they do want to make the point for Gandhi that all the people who've been caught have been caught after the CFO's office either initiated the investigation or helped an investigation.
But the money's still gone.
I know. I'm just saying that's what Jack Evans says. If you steal 100 bottles of milk from a store, why didn't you catch them when they stole 2? But I just want to make that clear. Mr. Orange, what about Nat Gandhi?
Well, I would say...
Did he resign?
No, let me say this. Dr. Gandhi has been a crucial part of this city rebounding. When I came into office, we had a $518 million deficit. When I left in 2007, we had $1.6 billion in the bank. We have gone from junk bond status to AAA status. And so Dr. Gandhi has done well in working with Wall Street and Congress. Now what we have is a situation where the internal operations have come to the forefront. And we need to look at those internal operations and see what's taking place. And I think, Tom, you make a very crucial point. When Harriet stole $48 million, that's a lot of money. Internal controls were out of control. What Dr. Gandhi is now saying is, yes, a person came after her and stole $400,000, but the internal controls they put in place detected that. The person stole $300,000, so they're not even getting up to $1 million.
So you think that
so I'm just saying we should stay on? What I'm saying is we should examine this objectively and see whether or not there are some real Dr. Gandhi failures.
I'm afraid we're just about out of time, and so Ann Wilcox, you will have to make your response to the Gandhi question a part of your final statement. And you have a minute.
Okay, real quickly. Well, we do have a surplus in our budget now. There's a lot of money that can be used for to benefit the citizens, we have to make sure we set priorities. And our party stands for making sure the safety net is maintained for those who need it, homeless families, the homeless. We need to make sure there's inclusionary zoning, affordable housing, and all the other things that we've been talking about. I think the Statehood Green Party brings that agenda to the table. I did get a second endorsement of the Sierra Club. I want to point that out. In addition to, I think Mr. Grasso got that. And I want to take a minute of my time real quickly to invite everyone on Tuesday, October 30th to a Statehood Candidates Forum down in Ward 8, the Islamic Heritage Museum, which is 2315 Martin Luther King Avenue. This will be Tuesday, 6 to 9 p.m. All candidates and all citizens are welcome.
Leon Swain.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate you inviting us here today. The basic problem is that there's a lack of, at least a cloud of a lack of integrity in the city, and I think that the city is sick and tired of it, and that they want to see some type of change. We keep having our elected officials tell us, well, we caught it or we didn't know about it. But the thing about it is that that's been going on for years. We talk about unemployment. Unemployment in Ward 8 has been 25 to 30% for years, and yet they're saying, well, we're getting a handle on it. We're not getting a handle on it. And what needs to happen is that we need to have elected officials who are actually paying attention and including the public, and that's not what's happening. We figure, or what people are saying is that if you're not big business, if you're not donating hundreds of thousands of dollars one way or the other to campaigns, you're not representing the city. But I do have one question, if I could ask it.
You only have 10 seconds.
My question is to Mr. Orange. Mr. Orange, you're saying that you had no knowledge of a shadow campaign, and my thing is simply this: if it's proven that you did have knowledge of the shadow campaign, will you resign?
Thank you very much, Mr. Swain. Mr. Orange, you now have your minute. You can choose to respond to Mr. Swain or not.
Well, let me just say to the listening audience, once again, my name is Vincent Orange. I am the at-large council member. I also serve as the D.C. Democratic National Committee man. I'm elated to be a Democrat. I'm elated to be on the official Democratic ticket with the President of the United States, President Barack Obama, and Eleanor Holmes Norton. I would ask you to come out and vote for the Democratic ticket. I've been endorsed by the Northwest Current, the Washington Examiner, TENAC, the D.C. Chamber of Commerce, the National Nurses United, Ask Me Council 20, the Building Trades, SEU, Local 722, and the Local Laborers, Local 657. I've led in the areas of economic development, education, employment, and I continue to look forward to working for the citizens of the District of Columbia. I have a lot of energy. I have the reform package. I'm the one that introduced legislation to ban outside employment, as well as to look at ethics issues. Vincent Orange, number 5 on the ballot, and I look forward to serving you all.
A.J. Cooper.
First, thank you for having me here. This has been pretty awesome. I've always heard your voice, but it's great to actually meet you. Residents of D.C., listen. We deserve better than what we've been getting from our city council members. We've all heard the politics and, the rhetoric and the theater before, but this is our chance to show our elected officials that we're not going to have it anymore. We need to be about results. In the past 4 years, homelessness has increased for children 73%, for adults 23%. In Ward 7 and 8, the unemployment rate is more than double the national average, almost 3 times the national average in Ward 8. More than 30% of our children live beneath the poverty level. The incumbents have failed, and so they should be fired. You have 2 votes in this election. You could get 2 new people into city council so that we can really affect the balance of city
10
council.
seconds.
I'm for making sure the city council members only have one boss, and that should be you, the residents. We were endorsed by TENAC also because they know that I will fight for renters. I'm number 7 on the ballot. Vote for A.J. Cooper.
Is an independent candidate for the council. Vincent Orange is an incumbent. He's running to retain his seat. Leon Swain is an independent candidate, and Ann Wilcox, a Statehood Green Party candidate for the D.C. Council. Thank you all for joining us, and good luck to all of you. Tom Sherwood.
I didn't get my closing minute.
When this is all over, there's likely to be an election next year
Teddy
to fill the seat for Council Chairman Phil Mendelssohn. We'll discuss that on a later broadcast. Thank you all for listening. I'm Kojo Nnamdi.